Today, folks, I am somebody who's personally made tens of thousands of dollars off past bubbles like Canopy Growth Corp, and there's a lot of speculation today. Are we in an AI bubble? And bubbles typically start innocently. They're new sectors, new technologies that are evolving, that people have high hopes, high expectations for future revenue and cash flow. But when that future finally arrives, the fundamentals don't line up with the expectations, at which we see huge correctional periods. And even though I personally believe we're seeing AI bubbles form, that has not stopped the wife and I from investing aggressively, especially on this last Trump dip. We're seeing a bit of a correctional period after the Trump rally. We went really aggressive into our favorite ETFs. Heck, probably the cheapest AI stock out there we've been buying is Google. But today I want to talk about the roadblocks that are being hit. No one's discussing when it comes to Tesla's self-driving. We'll talk a little bit about Google's Waymo, and I want to talk about the build up to these large LLMs that aren't actually scaling efficiently anymore. And if you are on a path to financial independence, if you damn well one day want to retire early, join me on that journey by hitting that subscribe, because this is bombshell information that nobody's going to share with you for some reason, because they just want to be hopium, just get out there and believe everything is rosy. But I'll do my best to remain centrist here as I present data that I find personally intriguing when it comes to Tesla's self-driving, the future of AI as it stands today with these large language models, which really boils down to NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA's been the golden child to the large language model future we all live in. With its posting earnings November 20th, there's expectations that this company will continue to be the largest company in the world. I mean, NVIDIA is trading at 3.43 trillion, competing for Apple's market cap at 3.46 trillion, and they still have a ways to go because a lot of the future growth is priced in here. You got net income for NVIDIA at 16.6 billion for the quarter versus Apple's 21.4 billion. So NVIDIA has to have a few more quarters of really great growth just to currently justify its value. And there's nothing saying that can't happen, but the recent news that I've been stumbling upon is either going to benefit them incredibly well, or it's going to hinder the future expectations of how many chips big companies like Microsoft and Google are going to order from NVIDIA. And it really all scales down to this fascinating video that Sabine did. And she's kind of a science YouTuber out there. I'm sure you've seen her if you've been into quantum computing or quantum mechanics, or if you're into space. I love this channel a lot. And she recently did a video called AI Scaling Hits a Wall, rumors say, and how serious is it? And I want you to take a quick listen because this is just fascinating.
Isn't the only one running into this problem. Ilya Sutskever told Reuters recently that results from scaling up pre-training, the phase of training an AI model that uses a vast amount of unlabeled data to understand language patterns and structures, have plateaued. Bloomberg reports that Google is facing the same issue. An upcoming iteration of its Gemini software is not living up to internal expectations, according to 3 people with knowledge of the matter. And on X Twitter, further rumors are making rounds. Heard a leak from one of the Frontier labs. They reached an unexpected huge wall of diminishing returns. Sam Altman insists there is no wall. The reason for Altman's optimism is likely that there are several optimizations left to be done on the current large language models, which is what Aschenbrenner calls unhobbling. For example, just having these models iterate answers and thinking about them as the newest GPT does has been a huge improvement. Then again, if they don't scale with more data, this will only delay the problem. The only person who seems to be genuinely happy about this is Gary Marcus, who has predicted that this would come years ago. John LeCun from Meta and Bill Gates have also speculated about this. I can't say I'm happy, but I'm unsurprised.
So in essentially what she's stating here is it doesn't seem to matter how much more tech we bring into this. It doesn't matter how much more data we bring into it. It's not doubling at the same rate that it currently was. In fact, things are only marginally getting better with huge investments. And we're seeing this in Tesla self-driving, literally one for one. I mean, Musk announced Hardware 5, named AI 5, during the Tesla annual meeting on June 13th, 2024. Musk stated that it is scheduled to release for January 2026 and will be 10 times more powerful than the current HW4. Now, keep in mind, this is during the same time that they plan to launch the robotaxi, which is honestly a bit disheartening because I think this is Elon saying that the current technology we have will not get us to full robotaxi ready, at which basically anyone that has bought a Tesla that is expecting their car to become a robotaxi may actually have to update their hardware in the future to even get a robotaxi capable vehicle, because there is no real data I can find that points to the exact amount of interventions that's been going on with Tesla vehicles. In fact, if you come into their recent earnings presentation, you can see Tesla's AI training capacity ramps through the end of of the year with H100 equivalent GPUs. And this really goes to show you the trouble they're having getting to full autonomy, because from 2021 to 2023, they weren't really scaling this that dramatically. But even just within the last quarter, they plan on like basically doubling to tripling, basically up their AI training capacity, which really goes to show that they are hitting a true brick wall with the capabilities they currently have. But when you look at like articles, there's no direct place I have been able to point to where we can see the exact current up-to-date interventions, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if these cars are safer. For them to be robotaxi ready, you can't have a human stepping in all the time to fix correctional errors, right? So I've seen articles saying that there's interventions every 13 miles. I've seen things on their website like miles driven per one accident, which is largely data. Like, this is really cherry-picked data, because when you say the United States average, there's way more other cars out there than there are Teslas. And it's not about necessarily safety if we're talking about the future of robotaxis, because even Google Waymo says they're 85%, there's a reduction in industries causing crash rates. There's 57% reduction in police reported crash rates. But that doesn't matter. How often does an actual person step in to fix the car's issue? Because that's what happens with Waymo. If they run into an issue where the car doesn't know what to do, it calls into a person that actually manually adjusts the vehicle to get it moving again. And we don't actually know any of the data behind this. I've been reading through Waymo intervention rates on Reddit, and there's just no one that can actually point to the real answer. And that comes true with Tesla, because I follow AI drivers and I see some AI drivers having almost no interventions driving through New York, and then I'll see other videos of AI drivers that are running into multitudes of interventions, and I can't put my finger on it. Is this ready? Is this not ready? But my conclusion is, if it was ready, we'd already be talking about, with regulators and scaling this. And I just don't think we're there just yet. So this is my concern when it comes to these future expectations that just don't exist today when we start talking about valuations in these companies. So personally, the only thing that I know is for certain right now is that AI is still revolutionary. It has been a huge technological jump, but I feel like we did the jump, and now anything that comes after is going to be a lot more work than was previously expected. I do love things like Synthesia, where you can get these AI avatars to do multi-language videos. I mean, listen,
Der KI-Avatare von Synthesia.
like, how great is this, right?
Hey, I'm Ada, one of Synth.
And you could even turn yourself into an AI avatar. So for those of us that are in the entertainment industry, that are in art, our jobs are largely up for debate. But for the vast majority of other people out there, I don't think the concerns of AI taking your job is going to happen anytime soon, especially when it comes to robotics, with the issues we're currently seeing with the AI that exists today, at least without some significant updates in software or hardware, which we just don't know what the future holds. And in fact, Tesla states that in their earnings, is that, for self-driving to come into fruition, it requires, technological advancements, which is why I still really boil down as a value investor at heart, though I believe the markets are pure fugazi. I do like buying stocks that I think the market is underappreciating. And if you believe in the AI future as much as I do, again, things just don't happen overnight. You can't help but recognize Google's arguably in one of the best positions imaginable. Yes, do they have some issues with the monopolistic fines that could come down the road? I think that's one of the things that have been priced into the stock to some extent. But when you look at the growth that they currently have, when you look at the cash they have on hand, they have arguably the cleanest balance sheet of any S&P top 10 company. I'm going to make a bet here for currently self-driving, at least until I can make more sense of where Tesla's going or what Tesla's doing. But I'll always have my itchy finger on that button, waiting for that moment where it starts to make sense to me. But we're going to see some extreme volatility continue in this market. Again, we're seeing in a lot of big AI players like Nvidia today, Palantir's correcting on the back of a very green market. There's just a lot happening here that I'm super interested in. I'm always going to be cost averaging in, but I'll pass it off to you. I'd love to know what you're doing in that comment section below.